Chapter 20. Just imagine a terrible serpent. Just imagine Pinocchio's delight when he was set free. He did not stop to look back, but set out on a run until he had left the ill-fated city behind him. Then he took the road which led to the fairy's cottage. There had been a good deal of rain, and the roads were so muddy that he sank in almost to his knees. But Pinocchio was not to be held back. Eager to see his father again and the fairy with the blue hair, he leaped along like a hunting dog and splashed mud all over himself. As he went, he said to himself, "How unlucky I have been, but I deserved it. I've wanted to do things my own way and haven't listened to advice. Well, I haven't learned my lesson and shall do better after this. How glad I shall be to see my father. And the fairy, will she forgive me, I wonder?" Then he stopped. Suddenly in great alarm, and jumped back 4 steps. What had he seen? He had seen a great serpent lying across the road. It had a green skin, eyes of flame, and its sharp tail smoked like a chimney. It would be impossible to picture the puppet's fear. Back he ran and seated himself upon the pile of stones, waiting for the serpent to go on his way and leave the road clear. He waited an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours. But the serpent didn't budge. Finally, Pinocchio plucked up courage, came up toward the serpent, and said in a soft, polite voice, I beg your pardon, Mr. Serpent, but would you do me the favor to draw over to one side a little, so that I may get by you?" He might as well have talked to a wall. There was no reply. The puppet continued in the same voice, "So you must know, Mrs. Serpent, that I am going home to see my father after a long time, so please let me pass." Still no answer. But the serpent, who up to that time had been full of life, now grew motionless and stiff. His eyes closed and his tail ceased to smoke. "I wonder if he is dead," said Pinocchio, rubbing his hands with relief. And without further delay he started to jump over. But he had no more than lifted one leg when the serpent rose suddenly like a jack-in-the-box. The puppet tried to jump back but lost his balance and landed in a mud hole, head first and feet kicking wildly in the air. At this sight the serpent was seized with such a fit of laughter that he couldn't stop. He laughed and laughed until he choked himself, and this time he was really dead. Pinocchio now plucked up courage and started again on his way to the fairy's cottage. He ran and ran for a long while, but the road was so long and muddy that he could hardly travel. Besides, he was gnawed by a terrible hunger. At last he jumped over a fence into a field with the intention of picking a few grapes. But again ill fortune awaited. He had no sooner reached the vine than crack! He felt his foot seized by teeth by iron which made him see all the stars in the heavens. The poor puppet was fast in a trap. The end. Tomorrow, chapter 21.